Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. My name's Liz, and for today I have some Dollar Tree DIYs perfect for summer, so let's get started. For this DIY, we are going to need 6 of these plank palette pieces, whatever it is that you want to call them. You're going to need 6 of those. And then you're going to need 2 of these galvanized pieces. And then you will need 2 of these larger plank pieces, all coming from the Dollar Tree. Now you're going to start by gluing 2 of your smaller plank pieces together. I also reinforced it by taking a popsicle stick, cutting it down, and just gluing over that seam in the middle. You are going to do 2 sets of these. Once you have both sets made, you're going to take another one of those smaller palette pieces, add glue to the inside of the little slats and then also on the ends, and you are going to stick these right up next to the ends of your other one. You can see what I'm doing. Hopefully I'm explaining it well enough, but you are going to do that on either side, so you are making a large rectangle. Once I had them at least a little bit stuck together, I took my pin nailer and went into all of the sides to really enforce it, make it stay together. You guys, I'm obsessed with this tool. It makes things so much easier. Everything's not just stuck together with glue, and it makes it that much stronger. So I just love it so much. I'm going to take those larger plank pieces, set those right on top, and I'm also going to use my pin nailer to nail everything down. I'm going to start painting this, so I'm going to take my plaster from Waverly, but I'm only going to paint the original rectangle box. I'm not going to paint those palette pieces on top because I want this to look like a farmhouse stand that you would see at a farmer's market or any kind of market where they're selling fruits or vegetables or any kind of thing like that. So I painted the rectangle box below. Now I'm also going to take some square wooden dowels. I am going to frame out the top portion of my crate with 2 side pieces and a back piece. And then I also just painted these using my own stain concoction with some brown paint and some water. I'll also use that same stain to paint the palette portion pieces at the top. Once I have those painted and dry, I'm going to start putting my square dowels onto the crate. So I'm going to just glue on the back portion just by adding glue onto those little palette sections and then adding my dowel right on top. And then I also used some Dollar Tree clamps to clamp it all in place and make sure that it glues and stays where I want it to. And I'm going to add my square dowels to the sides, and I did use my pin nailer to pin it all in place. So this is what you should have so far, this just cute little stand. You could leave it like this if you wanted, but I wanted to go the extra mile and make it even more. So what I'm going to do is take some wooden dowels. I got these from Hobby Lobby. This one I believe is 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to need 2 pieces the exact same length. And then I will need 2 smaller dowels the exact same length. So 4 dowels total, all the same length. I'm going to use that same stain concoction that I've been using to stain all 4 of my dowels. And then I also wanted my stand to look a little dirty, so I took a chip brush, used that same stain, and then just kind of did a little dry brushing around the edges and a little bit throughout the crate. Next, you're going to take these crates that you can get from Michael's. You can also get some from the Dollar Tree. These were only 50 cents at Michael's, so obviously they were a better deal. I'm going to add the larger dowels to the side of the crates using the pin nailer. You're going to do one on the left side and then take another crate and do one on the right side. For your third crate, you're going to take the other 2 dowels and you are going to attach them on either side of your crate on the smaller section. And you can glue them, or like I did, I used my pin nailer to help keep them in place. Now you could opt to paint your crates. I decided to leave them the natural wood color. I am going to butt these up in the corners for 2 of them, pin them in place, and then for the middle one, I did use some glue on the bottom, and then I also did the pin nailer on the back. Now you're going to take your 2 metal pieces and make an awning. So I just bent these where I wanted them up a little bit. You could use pliers or anything to help kind of bend them if you want. And I tried to make them bent at the same place to try to get them as identical as possible. I did use a lot of E6000 and then my pin nailer to keep it in place as well. This was a little bit difficult getting it exactly where I wanted it, but just take your time and then make sure that you give plenty of time for the E6000 to set up. I also used clamps to clamp everything together and I let it dry overnight. So essentially you're just making an awning for your crate. You could forego this step completely if you wanted, but I thought it was really cute. Now I have this plaque. This actually came from Walmart. I believe it was 98 cents. And I am going to paint this all green. I wanted to have a removable sign so that my crate could be interchangeable, have things changed out year round for the season or holiday. For this one, I'm going to add some surface wax because I'm going to use a silkscreen transfer. This one specifically came from Michael's. I just taped that down where I wanted it and then used my bright white paste for the Fresh Market. And then below it has local goods. I used the black chalk paste to do that one. And then I did add some dry brushing to it to make it look worn as well. Now, like I said, I wanted this to be interchangeable, so I bought these magnets off of Amazon. They were a lot smaller than I anticipated them to be. That's a stack of 4. They're super, super teeny tiny. I probably would have done bigger magnets in the future. So I did end up doing 3 magnets per dowel. So in total, I ended up using 12 magnets to hold it up, but I'll link some bigger magnets that I also found that are coming in the mail that I think would work really great for this too. I did end up putting some little eyelets onto my crate as well so that I could hang a banner up, and again, I could change that banner out if I wanted to per season or holiday. Now I just made a banner with some fabric that comes from the Dollar Tree. I just cut out little triangles and glued them to some twine, tied those onto the little eyelets, and you have yourself a cute little banner that you can take off, you can trade out. The inspiration from this project did come from Melissa from All Things Crafty. If you haven't seen her version of this crate, she made a really pretty one for the fall time. I'll link her video down below if you want to check it out. Now I did grab some faux fruit from Hobby Lobby. You can get faux fruit from the Dollar Tree, but they are $1.25 per fruit, and that's just more expensive than these bundles that I got where you got lots of different fruit, lots of different sizes, and they were $4.99 per bundle. I filled up my crates with the fruit, and that is all you got to do for this one. I think this is so adorable. I had so much fun creating this, and like I said, everything's interchangeable, so I could make this for fall with pumpkins and acorns and all sorts of other things. I could do this for Christmas time with Christmas trees. So there's so many different fun options that you can use for this crate. For this DIY, we are going to take some of Dollar Tree's long wooden planks. Now I am going to glue 2 of them together using the Dollar Tree wood glue super glue. So you'll add your glue, and then one thing that I found very helpful was to use a little clamps that you can also buy at the Dollar Tree and clamp your wood pieces together. I also filled in those holes using some wood filler, so make sure that you do that as well. Give that plenty of time to dry, and then you're going to take one of the smaller wood planks that also come from the Dollar Tree, add your glue onto that, and you are going to center this in the middle as best as you can. Now I'm going to take one of these small palette pieces that again come from the Dollar Tree, take that sticker off and take the twine off as well. We are going to use that for our base. Now I recently picked up this tool from Amazon. It's like this little mini miter saw, and this is perfect for cutting dowels. I like my miter shears, but sometimes I find that they chip the ends. So I decided to pick this up, like I said, from Amazon. I'll have it linked below. It is the perfect little tool for cutting your dowels, little tiny pieces that you need. I'm obsessed. I don't have to go out to the garage and use the big miter saw that I don't enjoy using. So this was like the perfect mini desk piece. I am cutting dowels because I am going to frame out the bottom and the top of this. We are making a sign holder. Now, the only complaint with this tool that I have is it does get dusty and there's really not a good way to clean it. So I just took a paintbrush and kind of dusted all the sawdust off onto a paper towel so then I could throw it away. I'm still trying to think of other ways to make it a little less messy, but we'll see. So I'm going to add my main piece into the slat of that palette piece and then add one of my dowels to the bottom, front and back. You're going to glue that on to the front and the back. Those dowels should be the same size. This is also going to help attach your main tall piece to your plank piece at the bottom. Now, another tool that I am just obsessed with right now, it's making my life so much easier, is this Ryobi pin nailer, and I'm also going to use this to help attach those dowels to the main piece. I just did a couple nails on the front and a couple nails on the back. I'm going to add some glue to both the bottom pieces of those dowels and then insert the main piece into that middle slat on the bottom. So I add some glue and then I'm also going to do the pin nails to help hold it in place. Now I wanted to do a little extra decorative touch, so I did some smaller dowels and a little bit shorter from the original dowels that we have, and I'm going to glue those to the front and the back right on top of the original dowels that we put on. I also used my pin nailer to help hold those in place. Now for the top, I'm just going to kind of mimic what I did on the bottom. I'm going to add a dowel to the top and then add the smaller, shorter dowel right below that. And then you can also use your Dollar Tree clamps to help clamp everything in place. I found these little wood rounds from Hobby Lobby and I thought that they would be the perfect piece to hang your signs from. So I grabbed one of those, but I wanted it to be a little bit taller. So I have these scrap little wood rounds. I glued those together and then I'm going to glue that to the top middle. And I also did a little pin nail in the middle because why not? Helps it stay in place. I made my own stain just with some brown paint and some water. I'm going to go through and just stain the entire piece. Now that finishes up that DIY. I wanted to do another one to kind of pair with this so you can get the full picture. So I'm going to take this little plaque that you can get from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to paint it with an ivory plaster color. I believe this is plaster from Waverly, and I just gave that one coat. I'm going to use my Couture surface wax on top because I am going to use a transfer and I want to make sure no bleeding happens, and since we're using wood, I want to make sure that everything is nice and sealed in. So I'm going to grab this honeycomb transfer from Couture with the honeycomb and the bees. This one is called Beehive, and I'm going to be using the honeycomb portion. And then I grab this other transfer. I'm going to use this Sweeter Than Honey, and then the bees and the honeycomb. This one's called Sweeter Than Honey, and I am going to use that honeycomb as a background. So I'm going to peel that off, lay it down, and then use my Couture paste on top. So I'm going to take my squeegee, take my paste, and then just scrape my paste basically over the entire thing. These are silkscreen transfers and I just think they're the best. They make things so easy. So I did the honeycomb on the backing. I laid the Sweeter Than Honey on top, did black for that, peeled that off, let that completely dry, and then I'm going to do my bees and the honeycomb right on the middle and on the sides. Black for the beads and then a yellow for the honeycomb. If you are ever interested in Couture, I always have them linked down below. I personally love silkscreen transfers. You can wash them, reuse them, and they just make my life so much easier. Once all the paint is completely dry, I'm going to take this ribbon that you can also get from the Dollar Tree. It has a little honeycomb pattern on it as well. I'm just going to thread it through those holes, tie some knots on the end to keep it in place, and then you have a sign holder and a sign, all made from Dollar Tree supplies, minus the dowels. You can't get those square dowels at Dollar Tree. You can get round ones, but you can go to Hobby Lobby and find square dowels, or Home Depot or any hardware store. You can find those there. But I think these turned out so cute. I absolutely love them. I see these sign holders everywhere, and I've wanted one for a really long time, and I just think this is perfect. And it's made from Dollar Tree products, which makes it even better. For this DIY, I'm going to grab a foam wreath from the dollar store, as well as some florals. Now, I picked up a ton, but I only ended up needing, I think, about 4 or 5 picks. But I thought the colors of these florals were absolutely beautiful. The creams, whites, and the corals were just gorgeous. So I went through and cut off all the stems and then started adding them into my wreath. There is no rhyme or reason on how to do this. Just put your flowers into your wreath and you're all good to go. Now, Dollar Tree does carry lemons. You can get one large lemon for $1.25. I chose to pick these ones up. They come in a pack of 10, I believe. They're $9.99 from Michael's, but you can get them on sale. So I feel like that is a better deal than the Dollar Tree. And I also liked the variety of sizes that it came with. Now I have some small dowels I am cutting using my miter shears. I'm going to use these to put into the wreath. I'm going to take my hot glue gun, make a little hole in each lemon, add some glue, add my dowel into the hole, and I just repeated that process for all the lemons. Lastly, you are just going to take your lemons and add them into your wreath. You can put them wherever you want, bunch them all together. I spread mine out throughout the wreath, and I think this looks like the perfect summer decor wreath. You can add it onto your door. You can add it just in your home decor. Sometimes I like adding wreaths just onto my table and mix with all the other pieces that I have. And I think this just turned out absolutely adorable. For this DIY, I wanted to make a large sign, so I grabbed 2 of Dollar Tree's large sign pieces like this. Now I'm also going to grab the Just Peachy Transfer from Couture. I'm going to lay this on top and measure where I need to cut off the excess sign. We took this out to my garage, cut those down. Now I'm going to glue them together just using some popsicle sticks and some Gorilla Glue hot glue that holds really, really well when you're hot gluing wood pieces like this. So I just held everything up with those popsicle sticks and the hot glue. Next, I'm going to take some wood filler and I am going to fill in that crack right down the middle so it's less noticeable when the whole sign is finished. Everything will look a lot more seamless. Now on Couture's website, they have some cut files for some of their transfers. So for this Just Peachy one, I bought the cut file for it. You can use this with your Cricut. I used it with my laser cutting machine and I cut out the pieces with wood. So I'm going to have more of a 3D effect. Like I said, you could do this with your Cricut and use their chalk suede paper. I am going to paint my bees black. I'm going to paint the peaches in a plaster color, and then for the Just Peachy portion I also used that same plaster color. These are just background colors that you'll see in between the transfer colors that you're going to put on top of that. If you are interested in wanting these cutouts, let me know in the comments and I may add them to my website. I'm also going to paint the main sign in that plaster color as well. I did end up giving this about 2 good coats. I am going to be using some of this veneer stripping that you can get off of Amazon. I like using these as frames. I just think that they're really fun. So I just framed it all out, cut my pieces, and then painted it using the Waverly Wax in Antique. Now again, taking that surface wax from Couture, I want to make sure that nothing bleeds. I want to make sure that the paint that I put down is not going to peel up. When you're using porous surfaces like wood, you want to make sure that you seal everything in, and I personally find that it helps with the bleeding. Now my first step is I am going to lay my transfer down, center it as best as I can, and I'm only going to be doing the peach slices. Anything that is whole is already cut out from wood, so I don't need to paste that on there. So I'm going to use a couple different colors for the peaches. I believe I used peach cobbler and orange peel, I want to say. Not positive, but I'll have it in the description box below so that if you want to check those colors out, you can. I did the paste and peel method where I paste my piece and then peel it up. That way the paste isn't drying to the transfer itself. If you're like me and you're a little bit of a slower chalker, I personally like this method, so I have less mess ups and I don't have to repeat the process. For my peach halves that show the pit in the middle, I did one color on the outside and then a darker color in the middle. Now for all of my other pieces, I went through and matched up the wood cutout to the peach and to the bumblebee on the back, flipped it over, and then I will start chalking each of those peaches. Now, I completely spaced the leaves when I was doing this, and I just paste everything that peachy orange color. So I did end up having to go back and I just hand painted over the leaves so that they were green. So if you're actually paying attention, you can go through with just a green paste while you're doing this, save the time of having to hand paint over the orange. But I just went through one by one, did all of my peaches, and then did all of my bumblebees. I went through with my bees with a yellow on top and got all of my bees done as well. Lastly, with the transfer, I laid down my Just Peachy on top of the cutout, and then I believe I used Sunset Drive to go over this. I'm terrible with the names of these colors, so if you want to know exact colors, I will have them written down below in the description box by the project. I'm going to start gluing the Just Peachy down first. Once I did this, I realized that I wanted to add my veneer wood stripping frame on first so that when I put the peach cutouts on, I didn't run into any issues with them overlapping. Now this veneer stripping does have some glue on the back. All you have to do is heat it up. I use just my heat gun and heat from the top, and then I take a flat piece. I just had flat piece of wood, a dowel, and I just scraped over the top, pressing the veneer down, making sure that it's all nice and stuck to the sign. I trimmed where I needed to make it all fit, and that's all you got to do to make this really cute frame around here. If you wanted to, you could just tape off and paint a frame on, but I personally think the veneer is fun. It's a fun little decorative piece. And then lastly, I'm going to go through, glue all of my wood pieces down. My peaches and my bumblebees, I just use the wood glue super glue that you can get from the Dollar Tree. And that is it for this one. I love making big signs out of Dollar Tree products because sometimes sign blanks can be really expensive, but the back only cost me $3. And I think that is a steal of a deal when you're making large signs. For this project, I'm going to take one of Dollar Tree's house pieces. This is actually from their summer collection last year, I believe, but this was in my stash, wanted to use it. So the first thing I'm going to do is give it a good coating of Mod Podge. I just use a foam brush, go over the entire thing with the Mod Podge and let it completely dry. I'm going to be using this Couture transfer. This is absolutely adorable. It's called Be Our Guest. I love the bee on here and it's perfect for summertime. So I'm going to use the bee and I'm also going to use the cutout. I use this paste called Saffron and I'm going to use this paste to paint the bee cutout that you can get from Couture. While that is drying, I'm going to go back to my house. I'm going to take this 6x6 paper pad called Be Happy. This actually comes from my website, moorevinyldecals.com. I'll have it linked below. I'm going to take 2 pages out of this pack and I am going to put them onto our house. Now I want to show you a little hack, a little trick. If you hate using Mod Podge when it's wet like I do, you're going to lay your paper down on the house, you're going to trace it out, and then you are going to cut it out. Now time for the hack portion. When your Mod Podge is completely dry, you're going to lay your paper down, add some parchment paper on top, and then use an iron, or I like using my mini Cricut heat press, and you are going to iron on the paper. This works so great at not getting any wrinkles in your paper or any bubbles in your paper. This reheats the Mod Podge, sticks your paper down, and everything is nice and just seamless. It's flawless. I love using this technique. I haven't done it in a while because I haven't had parchment paper, but I went to the Dollar Tree, picked some up, and now I can do it again. And it just makes my life so much easier. Now I'm going to take that bumblebee that we did, I'm going to add the Couture surface wax to it to make sure that the transfer does not peel up any of the paint that we just put down. I wanted to add some sort of separation between the 2 colors of paper, so I took a popsicle stick, I cut off the rounded edges on them, and I'm also going to use this with the transfer, so I did end up waxing that popsicle stick as well. I'm going to line up the bee with the bee cutout, and then I did line up the Our Guest onto the popsicle stick. I just used the black chalk paste to go over the bee and the words Our Guest. You can peel that up and you reveal such a cute bee. I love this so much. I'm also going to be using this wood veneer stripping that comes from Amazon for the roof of our house. I just wanted to add that extra little piece, so I cut a piece for each side of the roof, doing an angle cut at the top, using my heat gun to activate that glue that's on the back of it. And then I just heated it all up, stuck it down, and you're good to go. I also left this the plain wood color to match the popsicle stick on the bottom. Lastly, you're just going to glue everything together. So I glued my popsicle stick down. I just tried to put this in the middle between the 2 different papers that we have down. And then I glued my bee right above that. You could also add a little bow if you wanted, or some ribbon, or any other embellishments that you wanted to. But I think this is so adorable. I think it'd be really cute at the front entryway of your house, your front door, if you have an entryway table. This one is absolutely adorable and I'm just loving it. That's it for today's video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Let me know which project was your favorite in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe before you guys leave. Give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Hit that bell so that you're notified every single time that I upload, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!